It's over. They're all dead. Bodies already taken. The Jews didn't want them hanging on the crosses while the Passover took place, so Pilate ordered that the legs be broken. And then it was only a matter of minutes. We only had to deal with the two thieves. He was already gone. I just can't bring myself to leave. I knew things would be disruptive this week with Passover, all of the people in the city, but who could have seen this coming? I just keep reliving it every moment. This morning, the messenger came to the praetorium with my orders to report here at Golgotha 3 executions. I left at once. When I arrived, all was quiet. I inspected the verticals. They were secure. Optio presented his men, and I told them what I expected. Order, efficiency, and no mercy. I remember when the crowd began coming out of the city gate, how unusually loud they were. And I strained to look because I could only see 2 horizontals over their necks, lashed to their arms, stumbling through the jeers of the crowd. I asked what their crime was. Thieves. I thought, what a price to pay for stealing something. But then the third. When I saw him, I said, how long did they flog him? He couldn't even carry his cross. 2 soldiers had to help him as he came. And his name, Jesus of Nazareth. And his crime? Son of God. I remember thinking, what possible threat could a Jew from Nazareth pose to the empire? But then, Pilate had tried to set him free, said that there was no crime that he had committed that was worthy of death, washed his hands of the matter before the crowd, pleaded with them. Maybe that's why he had him flogged so severely. Maybe he thought if he brought him before the crowd, beaten and bloodied, that maybe they'd relent. But he even tried the tradition that we have at Passover of allowing one prisoner to be set free. He offered them Jesus. They refused. Instead, they called for Barabbas to be released. Barabbas is a murderer, an insurrectionist. He belonged on one of these crosses. But Barabbas went free. And this Jesus, he came. I thought for a moment, I'm crucifying an innocent man. Tried to shrug it off. I said to myself, mine is not to make the orders, mine is to follow them. So as they were brought, I ordered the first thief to be laid down at the foot of the right vertical, the second thief at the foot of the left. And then they brought Jesus, and when he came, his eyes met mine just for a moment. I said, put him down at the foot of the middle. Just then, the thief on the left, he He began to resist, and I said to Appio, use your flagrum until he is still. Didn't take long. Wine was brought to me in a large jar. I smelled it, and it was laced with gall. I looked on Jesus. I said, it'll dull the pain. If he's lucky, it'll render him unconscious. Give it to him. But he refused it. And I remember saying, with all the authority I could muster, that's the last decision you'll make today. I didn't have a clue. All was in order. I ordered that the hands be fixed, and for a moment the crowd fell silent to the pounding of hammers. When they were secure, I ordered them to be raised, one at a time. And as they were raised, and the horizontals were fixed to the verticals, I ordered the knees to be bent, the feet to be fixed, and the hammers silenced the crowd for a second time. When all was secure, I ordered the ropes to be released and told the men to take their posts. Nothing left to do but watch and wait. And then he spoke. He said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. I've heard a lot of prayers from the cross. Prayers for deliverance. Prayers for a quick death. Prayers of vengeance upon us. But never have I heard a prayer with such intimacy and praying that I be forgiven. Trying to take charge, I looked at him and I said, don't know what I'm doing. I know full well what I'm doing. I'm following my orders. I'm performing these executions. My words seemed to evaporate as I spoke them. Appio came to me with his rope. Can the men gamble for it? Of course I allowed it. Had I been a lesser rank, I would have joined, but I watched as the first three rolls were dismal. Then the fourth, it was a winner. The young soldier held the rope up, and I smiled and I said, nice bonus for your day's work. Not like he'll need it any longer. Suddenly felt stupid I'd said it. There were women who had come unusually close, and I yelled, who allowed them here? Who are they? And as the soldiers began to move in on them, one of them, the oldest, she said to me, I'm his mother. His mother. I ordered them to be left alone. Keep everyone else back, but leave them. A sign was brought listing the charges. I remember I took it and I read it out loud. It said, "This is Jesus, the King of the Jews." I ordered it be fixed above his head. And as it was being hammered there, I said out loud, "What kind of an innocent king hangs on a Roman cross?" That was all the crowd needed to hear. They joined in. He saved others. Let him save himself if he is the Christ of God, the chosen one. Chosen one. Messiah. I'd been stationed in Jerusalem long enough to hear of would-be messiahs. All of them were vicious, violent. Not this man. I had to ask, though, what do you mean, saved others? And one by one, the words came from the crowd. The blind were made to see, the lame were made to walk. Multitudes were fed from morsels. And then he raised the dead. I drew closer. Two of them spoke. Lazarus of Bethany, just last week. We were there. That's why we followed him here. How is it if you can make the blind see and feed the multitudes and raise the dead? How is it that you hang on a cross? Where is your power now? Unless my soldiers began joining in the mocking. I wanted to stop them, but what was I to do? I told them I expected order, efficiency, and no mercy. And then the thief, the one that we had flogged, he began speaking. Aren't you the Christ? Save yourself and us. And I thought, why doesn't he save himself? If he has this power, the power to do miracles, surely this miracle could happen as well. Unless he's setting this power aside. The other thief began speaking to the first, and he said, don't you fear God? We are being punished justly, for we are getting what our deeds deserve. But this man has done nothing wrong. Pilate had said he did nothing deserving this, pleaded for his release. And now this condemned criminal hanging beside him. He spoke again, and he said, Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. I thought, how dare you ask him, this innocent man, you, a condemned criminal, how dare you ask him for anything? But Jesus then spoke, and he said, I tell you the truth. Today you will be with me in paradise. Paradise. Heaven? You promise him heaven? This condemned, unworthy criminal? You grant him the paradise of heaven just because he asks you? Jesus then turned to his mother. A younger man had drawn closer to her, and he said to both of them, "Woman, behold your son." And then he said, "Son, behold your mother." He was making sure that his mother would be cared for after he was gone. The sky began to cloud over more and more, and it was only noon hour, but the darkness was unlike any I'd ever seen. The soldiers asked, "What do we do?" And I just said, "Stay at your posts, keep order, keep the area clear." It was like the darkness of what we were doing on this hill. It was like the darkness filled the very skies. It lasted for hours. We stood in darkness, waiting. And then he cried out finally, my God, why have you forsaken me?" I'd only been in the presence of this man for 6 hours. But how? Why? Why would he be the forsaken of God? The crowd thought he was calling for Elijah, the prophet of old, perhaps thinking Elijah was going to be coming to rescue him. I didn't care. I remembered the jar of wine that had been brought to me, and I ordered Optio to take a sponge and soak the sponge in the wine. Give it to him. He took some. The crowd again said, "Now leave him alone. Let's see if Elijah comes." He just spoke 3 words. It is finished. And then he fell lifeless. It is finished. You speak about this like it was a task to be completed, like you came here for some purpose. I thought about how he'd been brought here in innocence, how he had power to raise the dead, but that power had been set aside. Instead, he forgave. He restored. He comforted. And declared it to be finished. This wasn't an execution. This was a sacrifice. But for them, for us, for me, The earth began to tremble. Again, the soldiers asked me, "What do we do?" I didn't know. It was like the earth beneath us was writhing in agony over what we had done. Things quickly fell silent. I removed my helmet. I laid down my sword. And I fell at the foot of his cross. I know what Caesar claims. I know what Rome has taught me. But today I met the Son of God. I watched him die. I put him there. I don't know if there's a day that I'll live that I won't remember the events of this day. But I will also remember the words that he spoke. Father, forgive them.
Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Oh, sometimes. Were you there when they laid him in the tomb? Were you there when they laid my sweet Jesus in the tomb? Oh, sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they laid him in the tomb? Were you there when he rose up from the grave? Were you there when my Jesus rose up from the grave? Oh, sometimes I feel like shouting glory, glory, hallelujah. Were you there when he rose up from the grave?